Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. The microphone in charge. Yeah?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, part is completed. बरं बरं ठीक आहे. मी आता टेम्पलला पोहोचलो. बरं ठीक आहे. ठीक आहे. तर तू आता पोहोचलो. मी आताच पोहोचलो इंदिरा. ठीक आहे. बरं ठीक आहे.
Okay. Very cool. Be outside. Sir.
Thank you. Some slight technical adjustments here. You just chant Hare Krishna a little bit. I mean, japa, just for 1 or 2 minutes before we get this corrected. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
There's an audio thing. Audio is there? No, there's a thing.
I'm waiting for that.
Should I take it?
I think they're saying bring the laptop also.
Okay, I'll bring it.
The camera's good?
you want to bring it in forward?
Yeah, just be forward. Just like the other camera.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama. Krishna, 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 Hare
Camera's good?
Rama, Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna. Hare Rama,
Do you want to
Rama.
like right in front of him? Like right here?
Hare Krishna,
Should not drop the laptop. It should be
Hare
like
Rama,
this one facing.
Hare Rama.
So like this is the camera and then my face.
Yeah, that's how
Hare
it is.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Maharaj said 5 o'clock, right? So I was calling Vidas and all. 5 o'clock or कितना 6:30?
6 तो आई थिंक स्टैंडर्ड ही हो गया ना कि we need to fix that. Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram. How many books we have? How many titles?
Yeah, almost
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
One more.
Hare Krishna. So we request all the devotees to please take your seats. Let's welcome His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj. We are supremely fortunate. Maharaj has taken his time from his precious schedule to be with us, to share with us Krishna consciousness. Especially His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada left this instruction for all of us, his followers, that he wanted us to establish Varnashram Dharma. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that's somewhat unfinished business on his side because His Divine Grace was very busy writing books and training his disciples all over the world. And I was reading, His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj took that particular instruction to his heart. He has spent almost now more than 45 years investing a lot of his energies to actually working on it. You will see Maharaj has written almost 9-10 books on Varnashram Dharma. He has established rural villages in India, many villages in South India. Not just on theory, but being there fully involved, guiding hundreds and thousands of devotees. So we are supremely fortunate that Maharaj is here now to share with us, especially the global cow care protection and Varnashram Dharma. Let's thank Maharaj by chanting 3 times. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. We request all of the devotees, before you leave at the end, please come to the book table and check all the books and take as many as you can home and share with your friends and families and relatives so you can educate them in Varnashram Dharma. Thank you so much.
I'll raise the actual. No, but then if you raise the height, it's going up. Because it's right in the front. Wait, I can try.
I'm thinking the mic is way
In the way.
So I can put the camera, I can raise the camera.
And the lower. Okay.
If someone can play the mridanga and be close by, and at least one, maybe 2 devotees playing kirtan. Yeah. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Jaya Radha Samasundar Radha Samasundar Radhe Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Gaura Pimanandi Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacharya Stotra Satta Sri Simar His Divine Grace Shirabai Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sigaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Sri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Sri Dwarka Dham Ki Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Sri Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Sri Mayapur Chandradev Mandir Ki Gangamai Jumanamai Ki Tulsi Revi Bhakti Revi Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Shri Gonithai Ki Jai Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai Sri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Sri Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Radha Shamashundar Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. After some time, let me know. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Dutta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you who are present here this evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you. My very first time to New Jersey. It is like entering the spiritual world. Very nice, spacious temple, beautiful altar, beautiful deities. Congratulations to all the devotees. That clock is correct. It's, what is it, 7:15, right? Kindly excuse us for coming a little late. I can't really say whose fault it was, but anyways, we're here. I don't want to blame anybody in public. So I'm visiting here actually in the U.S. I came from India just a few weeks ago, primarily to attend a conference, some of you may know, in California that was covered and is, you can see it actually on YouTube. It was, we gave it the name Cow Culture Conference, Cow Culture. And this evening is kind of a follow-up. It's a kind of a follow-up to this conference. In many ways, my concentration, in ISKCON society, we have so many traveling preachers, we have so many sannyasis, so many devotees, because Srila Prabhupada has given us a very big mission. So many things to do, so many projects, and therefore it's natural that different devotees kind of become attracted or involved in some particular aspect of this great movement of Lord Chaitanya, this great movement of ISKCON that Srila Prabhupada established way back in 1966. Just a little bit of background to kind of maybe explain the subject matter this evening. In my early days in ISKCON, I was reading, like all devotees, Prabhupada's books, purports, came across the word Varnashram many times. And I was in India for in the early days, after spending a few years in Ottawa. I'm from Canada. I was in Mayapur. I stayed in India from 1976 to 1991 or 2 without leaving. And a lot of that was spent in villages. But even during that time, I could not, of course, going to villages in India in those days especially was, there was less pollution and less influence, we could say, from modern day society, although it had already begun in so many ways. But it was only later, after stepping out of India, coming to Canada, then especially going to Indonesia. Indonesia, for me, was my second India. Anyone has been to Bali here? 50% of your life is wasted. Please visit some. We have a wonderful community on the island of Sumatra. It's one of the 14,000 islands in Indonesia. There's a lot of islands there. Indonesia is the 4th largest populated country in the world. One would never think, The largest Muslim country in the world, and the 4th largest populated after China, India, and US. So anyways, when going to Indonesia, we had the opportunity, myself and some other devotees, one godbrother in particular, to cultivate something we had started, something I was involved with already, cultivating the youth, especially college students. Prabhupada gave a lot of importance, as we know, the educated youth of our society. They can take forward, isn't it, lead the future development of our movement. So anyways, it is at that time, late 90s, I guess, mid-90s, late 90s, that the whole Varnashram dimension of our movement, for me, is, we all have something happening to us at different times in our devotional life that, okay, we kind of begin to understand or begin to appreciate something a bit more like that. Anyways, for me, that's how it happened. And so since the last, I guess, close to 20 years, especially been concentrating on this area. In India, about 9 years ago, our leaders GBC leaders, regional secretaries, etc. India is the only country that has what we call an ISKCON bureau. No other country has that. Prabhupada established this legal entity called the Bureau many years ago. He was also a member, a voting member of the Bureau. So anyways, the Bureau established a ministry that we now call ISKCON Daiva Varnashram Ministry. But that is like a national ministry for India. And I happen to be overseeing that ministry. Now, I was noticing on the top, what was it, 1966, right? No, 2016. Yeah, 1966 to 2000, Golden Jubilee, right? We all celebrated the Golden Jubilee of ISKCON 2 years ago. So we knew that this was coming, so our ministry decided at that time, let's start something not in 2016, but in 2015. Let's be ahead of the game. So, because Srila Prabhupada left India not in 1966, but in 1965, isn't it? He boarded the Jaladuta. And it was the following year that he established, incorporated, ISKCON in New York, as we all know. So anyways, a few of us got together, started to discuss, members of our ministry, let's have a 12-year campaign that begins in 2015. And let's call it, this is going to be like a 12 years up until 2027. I believe November the 2nd, 2027, which will commemorate the 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's physical departure, and which will end a 50-year Golden Jubilee era, which will never come again for most of us. So therefore, we launched on January the 1st, 2015. You were there, maybe? Yeah. See, you can check with him if you don't believe me. Quite a few, we invited different people from the public as well, because we called it the Om Sri Surabhi campaign. And I have a nice video to share with you a little bit later on, which is something that one of our devotees put together to promote and to explain the nature of this campaign. Now I have to be careful because I have different things I want to share with you, and one of them is this campaign, of course. We have amongst the books that are here what is called a campaigner's guide. There's a guide. And our ministry, of course, is focused in India, but being a sannyasi, and sannyasis by nature are meant to travel. Therefore, as I travel, naturally I speak about and try to point out the significance and importance not only of the campaign actually is mainly to bring awareness, create awareness, first and foremost amongst our devotees, our members connected with ISKCON society, either full-time devotees, congregational members, and also people in general, of things that we have forgotten, of some very fundamental principles which Prabhupada naturally spoke about, but Prabhupada spoke about so many things that we have maybe not understood or not or forgotten as well. And the most recent book, actually, that was connected with the cow culture conference that we had in California. We launched the book, actually, Dr. Subramaniam Swami himself. That was one of the reasons we invited him there to launch this book, and also to launch an app which gives all kinds of information about this dimension of our movement, which has to do with many things, actually. You know, when we speak of 50% of Prabhupada's movement, even the first 50% is like, God, we have a hard time. We have a hard time with that, isn't it? I mean, some people are ahead of the game a little bit and have wonderful activities, nice preaching, but there's still many things to be realized, to be, we could say, properly addressed and realized in that 50%. And now we're talking about another 50%, which is somewhat nebulous and to many and somewhat distant. And I'll try to explain why this is so, and why also it is not so easy to kind of grasp, not so easy to understand why this 50% is important, number one, and what exactly is that 50%. Now, you will all agree, whether you're a businessman or not, that 50% of anything is sizable. It's important, isn't it? So especially when it is being given to us or taught to us by a personality like our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So the book that we launched is in connection with some research that I'm doing. I must confess something to all of you. I'm here confessing. At age 70 plus, I have become a student. How can I say now you become a student? I'm actually pursuing a subject matter connected with Osmania University. And the topic of my doctoral research is Vaishnav Vedic perspective of sociology. Its practical application in the 21st century. We are now living in the 21st century. And it is most important for us, it's very, very relevant to us, what is Vedic sociology. Because, I mean, to put it very simply and briefly, Vedic sociology has to do with Varnashram culture, Varnashrama dharma. You see. So I know they're anxious there behind the scenes to put up something. See, some colors come already. So I think the devotees back there probably can hear me. You can put up the first slide. We'll start with the first slide, PowerPoint. As I, as I go along, the first one will be the one that begins with the title of this book that I put together. The title of the book is Modernity is Killing Civilization. Just put the first slide. Yeah, just leave it like that. Well, you could put the rest of that slide. Oh, I'm in charge. Whoops, went the wrong way. Well, yeah, okay, just caught on. I don't use this very often. It's far, huh? Anyways, right, we'll leave it like that for now. We're not ready to see this. I'm just going to speak a bit more. I just wanted to say a few words about this presentation, and I would like to present to you the gist, the focal point of this book, which happens to be something very, very important spoken by one of our great Mahajans, none other than Bhishmadev. So when Grandfather Bhishmadev speaks, we have to hear attentively. We have to hear attentively, isn't it? So the scene, just a background, is Bhishmadev is on his bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra, and we all know how Yudhisthira Maharaj was very depressed, morose, guilty, just for me, just to install me as a king, as the emperor of the world. All of these people are dead. All of these people have died. So anyways,
so the one that has the one spreads out. The mix, it fades in. And then
arrangement is made that Yudhisthira Maharaj will be, we could say, revived from his depressed condition by hearing from Bhishmadev.
And then there is a way.
Of course, Bhishmadev, we all know, speaks about many things.
We could put him
but three things that are
we could put them both together.
Of
but I don't remember exactly
great importance,
You need to note down the steps.
topmost importance,
You need to not know.
and that are
we could do it after. So at that.
some echo. Not actually. For all of us, especially our devotees and who are part of this movement, Srila Prabhupada's movement, Lord Chaitanya's movement, we need to understand the significance of these three instructions given by Bhishmadev. And anyways, it's in the book. The exact reference is in the book. I don't think, I may or may not have it here. So the first instruction, Jai Shri Sri Radha Samasundari Ki Jai. Bhishmadev begins to explain to Yudhisthira Maharaj that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has created this world, naturally, giving all of us three things that he calls as natural gifts of nature. And that these three gifts of nature are sacred. They are meant to be protected. They are meant to be honored. And when individually or as a society we begin to neglect any of these three aspects or three gifts of nature, then there will be all kinds of, because irregularities and problems and complexities within society. And he begins by telling Yudhisthira Maharaj that the first gifts of nature are cows. The second gift of nature is land. And the third gift of nature is knowledge. Cows, land, and knowledge are sacred. Not only are they sacred, they are our three mothers. Of course, we know we have 7 mothers. They're among the 7 mothers. Mother cow, or Mother Surabhi. This mantra we chanted actually is the authorized, bona fide mantra, right? We had some discussion on that. There's a mantra, just like there's the mantra to glorify Krishna, the Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, the greatest of all mantras. So there is a particular mantra to glorify and honor. Mother Surabhi, and it is Sri Surabhyai Namaha, Om Sri Surabhyai Namaha. Just recently in India, there was maybe a 2-week or 1 month program, not organized by ISKCON, but by other people who are very much into protecting cows. They organized, I don't know how many thousands of villages to chant this mantra for a particular period of time. Now, when we begin to, it's not just sufficient to hear, okay, well, that sounds okay, but what is the actual significance? The significance is that if we begin to understand how society is meant to be organized from the Vedic point of view, Vedic society should especially favor our advancement in spiritual consciousness, isn't it? Self-realization. All things spiritual and all things material should be organized and performed in such a way that it will maximize our opportunity to advance spiritually. So therefore, in our Shastra we hear about, Prabhupada calls it the spiritual swadharma of all living entities. We all have spiritual swadharma. Spiritual swadharma means all of us, all living entities, and especially, of course, in the human form of life, we have our unique identity, our unique responsibility, our unique duties spiritually in terms of who we are, spirit, soul, isn't it? And that, of course, is the science of devotional service, bhakti. That's one thing. And all of us who have come to Krishna consciousness, that is nicely and clearly explained by our acharyas and spoken about very extensively by Lord Chaitanya's, movement especially. We also have simultaneously, now this is something that is less obvious, we also have simultaneously our material swadharma. Material swadharma, in as much as our spiritual swadharma is very specific in terms of the spirit soul, and also very, very encompassing. It's a very big subject matter, the subject matter of dharma, the subject matter of the absolute truth. It's very, it takes many lifetimes generally to realize. In a similar way, material swadharma is also very, very scientific because it's created by Krishna, isn't it? How we should be living materially so that we can live as much as possible in harmony with other people, so that we can live in harmony with other living entities, animals, so that we can live in harmony with nature, so that we can live in harmony with God, with the Supreme Lord. And this will help us achieve the success in life, which is to become self-realized, as we mentioned a little earlier. There are many, many reasons why Yudhishthira Maharaj begins with cows. Because cows, well, cows and land in the Vedic culture are inseparable. If we don't have cows, if we don't properly have cows, for example, grazing the land, we will have what is taking place all over the world now, what is called the global problem of desertification. land becoming more and more desert-like, isn't it? Because we use tractors, because we use pesticides, chemical fertilizers, etc. We are depleting the earth of its natural nutrients. Whereas when we utilize cows, as Krishna and Balaram were doing every day, like a full-time job, full-time service, right? Every day, along with hundreds and thousands of other cowherd boys, and then cowherd men as well, they had their own cows. They would walk all over Vrindavan in the many hundreds of forests. And this walking of cows on the earth, Prabhupada explains actually, has a very unique and special effect on the earth in that it actually massages. The cows are massaging Mother Earth with their hooves. And with their cow dung and cow urine, they are replenishing, building up, you see, the soil. Because without good soil, you cannot have good production. And without production, we cannot live. We cannot perform our devotional activities. We cannot chant Hare Krishna. So cows, as we know, in so many places in the Shastra, cows are in the mode of goodness. The living entity in the body of a cow takes on human form after leaving, law of nature, isn't it? So cows being in the mode of goodness, I mean, when we stop and analyze this, it is like such a genius plan, and only Krishna can come up with such a plan. If we put cows, if we have cows the center of our lives, if we every day connect with cows and connect with the land, the cows being in the mode of goodness help us also to become in the mode of goodness. Of course, there's beyond mode of goodness, but usually first come to the mode of goodness. So whole Vedic culture is helping us. Whole Vedic culture, we should know, is an agrarian-based culture. We have forgotten this, especially in America, where, I don't know, over 90% of the population are no longer living in the country, or no longer connected with the land or with the cows. America is one that probably maybe the top country in the world that has become so industrialized and is, telling the whole world, become like us, do like us, But it's not in keeping with Krishna's plan. That's the only problem. And it's a big problem. Whatever is not in line with Krishna's plan is doomed to failure. Now, I will put my glasses on because I want to read to you, you can look at it, although I'll read it. It's a big screen, but actually it's far from here, especially the fine print. Okay, I see a little better. This is the title. We had different devotees actually make, thank you, that's better, yeah. You see, modern technology cannot be appreciated unless we come to the mode of darkness. Unless we shut the lights, we cannot appreciate modern technology. Anyway, that's another. Here's a quote, I believe is coming up here. Oh, I'll just show you this picture. We've been going to Cambodia for the last... Who has been to Cambodia? My God, you guys don't. You like New Jersey, huh? Cambodia, Angkor Wat. We have actually a preaching center in Siem Reap, and we invite all of you to visit Angkor Wat. It is the largest Hindu temple in the world, bigger than any Hindu temple in India. Don't be offended. but that is a reality. And anyways, the next picture is from Cambodia. On top of the hill, you can't see it because somehow the picture shrunk, but there's a temple. You know, there's a temple on top of the hill. This is just giving, a little view of ideal village life. Here's a quote I hope it's coming up. Yeah, part of the invocation. Wow, it's too small for me to read here. Can anybody read that? Haribol, yeah. Second line. Okay, well, on my screen it comes out real good. No, because it's far away and whatnot. So the translation, somebody can read first. What does it say? Yeah. First, actually, many places, this is there are prayers similar to that. First, cows should be protected. I won't ask any questions. First, cows should be protected, and then when cows are protected, brahmanas become protected. This is very important. There's a direct link between cows and brahmanas. First, cows should be protected. If cows are protected, and only if cows are protected, will the brahmanas actually become protected. Only then, when the cows are protected, will brahmanas be able to execute their service. Only then will Ayurvedic doctors be able to perform their service of Kabiraj as well. In Ayurvedic medicine, actually one cannot properly treat one's patients unless one uses ghee, pure ghee. And ghee, depending on from which breed of cows one gets the ghee, has different usages. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole science about that. So when cows are protected, the brahmanas will be protected. And when the cows and the brahmanas are protected, then the whole world becomes protected. That is the message being given here. So we are part of the whole world. So if we want to be protected, we should give attention to cows, especially in the beginning, because they will in turn protect the brahmanas, who in turn will protect all of us by giving us knowledge, isn't it? Vedic knowledge. So the reference is there in the bottom. You can, anyways, you have it copied. You can look at that later on. And yeah, that is a mantra. Om Sri Sarabhyaya Namaha and Om Sri Gurave Namaha. We all know this mantra. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Go Brahmana. Not Brahmana, go Brahmana. First, cows should be given protection. So Vedic culture means where individuals within a society are very aware and conscientious of the importance of cows. And that's why we have a duty and responsibility. We means members of this movement, because we are representing Lord Chaitanya, we are representing Krishna. We are meant to represent Dharma. And Krishna comes, isn't it, to re-establish Dharma. Dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya saduskitam. Yeah. So now not necessary actually for me to show you the rest of this. I can try a little bit because, yeah, anyway, that's another very important invocation given by Srila Prabhupada in the very wonderful book of, what is it? Light of the Bhagavat. Very wonderful explanations given in the Light of the Bhagavat. This is part of our logo. So, yeah. We can stop there. Actually, you can get the other one ready, but not begin it now, which will be our video. Meantime, the lights can come back on for a few minutes. On. Yes, thank you. Actually, the video is only like 15 minutes, so just got to keep track of the time here. Okay. Yeah. So if you kindly allow me to continue this explanation given by Yudhishthira Maharaj. We have a phenomena taking place in North America and all over the world, which should be of disturbance to us, in the sense that whatever activities are promoting adharma should be of concern to us, isn't it? The whole of modern civilization. Now, in the very first page, actually, of this book, I quote some of the statements made by Srila Prabhupada in terms of how to understand our present-day civilization. As we know, Srila Prabhupada was at times very direct, very strongly direct. So he would refer to modern-day civilization as a cats and dogs civilization, isn't it? Because people are always quarreling. When you put cats and dogs together, they quarrel. Even when you put dogs together, they quarrel also. So we have, Prabhupada also described modern-day civilization as a vulture civilization. Vultures eat dead bodies. Modern man enjoys eating dead bodies. We are a vulture civilization. Yes. And we also are Atmahana, soul-killing civilization. This is especially true in the context of education, which is the third point explained by Bhishmadev. When we start, actually, a few years back, I did some research and some study in education in Indonesia, actually. It was very interesting because Indonesia, that's why you should visit Indonesia. Indonesia, although, as I mentioned, a vast percentage are following Islam. The religion is Islam, but the culture is Vedic to this day. If you go to Java, the main island where, there's on the island of Java where Jakarta is located, the capital, there are over 100 million people on one island. A little bit crowded there. And the Javanese language to this day is 80% Sanskrit. So those of you from India who know Sanskrit, you'll feel at home. You'll feel at home. And they still play, they have these very, to this day also, I attended one of them, these shadow puppets. Shadow puppets on Ramayana. you see buses, public buses, with Sitaram. You think you're in India, you know. So, I was doing some research comparing. Actually, that was in the context of what they call Pendidikan Luar Sekolah. This is Bahasa Indonesia. Pendidikan means education, luar, out, sekolah means school. Education outside of school, or what we call non-formal education. And I selected 3 of their very, very traditional educational systems, still followed today, and compared them with 3 of our Gurukul systems in India, beginning with Sringeri. So the Sringeri, actually, I had chosen also our Gurukul in Vrindavan, because I had categorized in modern, semi-modern, and traditional. I thought we were traditional, but then we were not really that traditional. Anyways, the main point is that they still very much follow in this particular educational system, the Vedic system of learning in the original language, which is Arabic, and having their own gurus, residential as well, for a number of years like that. A very interesting phenomenon. So my point is that our traditional educational system of Gurukula, and Prabhupada, of course, also spoke about a Varnashram college. I mean, Srila Prabhupada requested us. This is food for thought for all of you here in New Jersey. 50 years ago, Srila Prabhupada requested all of us to immediately establish a Varnashram college in all of our centers, which we have not done to this day, actually. How can we expect to establish our Vedic culture if we don't have our young children exposed, educated, trained in actually the Vedic arts and sciences? We have a wealth, even though, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, over 90% of the original Vedic texts are no longer available because of so many things that have happened in India, especially with invasions, etc., isn't it? So many books and libraries burnt, destroyed, etc. But we have actually the essence being Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and many others as well. You know, if 90% are gone, we can just imagine what kind of wealth of knowledge and information was there. So but how can we expect to bring in what we're supposed to do in connection with the movement of Lord Chaitanya? How can we expect to reestablish Vedic culture worldwide as well if we don't give that opportunity to our young people to be trained in traditional sciences? Chanakya Pandit speaks about Sarvidya. For the beauty about our Vedic culture is that it is based on non-changing Vedic sciences, standard Vedic sciences. It's like, we read Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who joined 50 years ago or whatever is still reading the same Bhagavad Gita today. We read the same Bhagavatam. We chant the same mantra. So Vedic culture is having, because that knowledge is perfect knowledge. That knowledge is coming from Krishna, is coming from the Vedas. So if we neglect to study this knowledge, if we neglect to apply this knowledge, then we're losing our Vedic culture. If we neglect also because intimately connected with knowledge is occupation. Brahmanas would study and determine the varna of a young boy between the age of 8 to 12, and would understand, okay, according to various characteristics, according to astrology, according to family lineage, according to observation, different methods, they would determine, establish, and understand what is a varna. And according to the varna determines one's education. The varna also determines one's ashram. Where is that knowledge today? As we travel around as sannyasis, many times people come to us and, Maharaj, can you tell me what is my varna? Good question, actually, because many people don't know who they are. And that's very embarrassing when we don't know who we are. Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki, Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Shyamsundar Ki, Jai. So Vedic culture actually gives so much of importance to understanding about varna. It is not, it is not at all something backwards or something, my God, like caste. And this is very scientific. It is a very scientific system. It cannot be otherwise because it's Krishna who's created the system of varna and ashrama. And Prabhupada explains, I'm sure you've all read how civilization, we're talking about civilization, right? Modern civilization. Actual civilization begins when one is part of varna and ashrama. If one is not respecting, not following, not in keeping, living not in keeping with the system of varnashrama, not considered civilized. You see. And that means we cannot do anything properly. So we are trying in different ways. Actually, we all know, I mean, Kali Yuga is manifesting itself in so many ways, more and more, while simultaneously we are endeavoring to introduce this culture of Sanatana Dharma, this culture of Krishna consciousness. And of course, there are many wonderful things happening as well. In some inconceivable way, Krishna is allowing, Kali to manifest itself more and more. And at the same time, it's like people are taking to Krishna consciousness, and there's all kinds of positive signs and positive influence taking place all over the world. People interested in yoga, people interested in kirtan, in vegetarian food, and these are good things, positive things. And we like to think also that as devotees and as a movement, we have had something to do with it. We could have had more, possibly, influence. We can still have a lot more positive influence to help people understand how important it is to have a good diet, proper diet, good health. And it begins actually with living properly, and it begins by understanding how we are living in a very, we are deviating from these three basic concepts that Bhishma Dev has spoken about, that I tried to explain very briefly. It's a very involved subject matter, of course, and it does take time to try and kind of like we say wrap our brain around it, to really understand it clearly. But Srila Prabhupada spoke about this, wrote about it, and requested. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you in a few minutes if our boys out there didn't give up on us yet. we're supposed to show PowerPoint where nothing's happening. So I'm going to show you this video, and that is self-explanatory. It's 15 minutes, probably a little under 15 minutes. I think that gives the gist of what I'm trying to present this evening. After this video, we can have a little bit of time for any, questions or comments you may have. And then, of course, afterwards, yeah, you got the right one. There's only one, you can't miss. After that, you can have a look at some of these books, and we'll be happy to address any questions that might be there. Make sure the sound is right, and yes, lights out, and we're off to the movies. Nice and loud. Not very loud, no.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Vadakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam present human society is so ungrateful and rascal that they are killing cows. So Krishna comes to punish them, these rascals. When the cows, they are too much troubled by this rascal demon, and Krishna comes, yada yada hi dharmasya gyani bhavati vara, abhuthana dharmasya, these are all dharmas. Instead of Goraksha means protection to the cows. Instead of protection to the cows, they are killing the cows. How you can have perfect society? Cows must be protected. It is so important animal. It is giving you the nectar in food, milk, and from milk you can save your children, you can save your diseased person. And how it is there? You take the cow's milk and send it for slaughterhouse. Oh, this is not at all human civilization.
There is only one option. I repeat to you, only one option left to climatologists and scientists, and that is to do the unthinkable and to use livestock, bunched and moving, as a proxy for former herds and predators and mimic nature. There is no other alternative left to mankind. So let's do that. And look at the amazing change in this one, where that gully has completely healed using nothing but livestock mimicking nature.
Therefore, varnashram dharma is so essential that people remain in Sattva. Therefore, they should be brought into Sattva, that is establishment of varnashram dharma.
We have become totally disconnected with the basis and the pillars of Dharma, which are cows. Dharma begins with the protection of cows. When we cut out, when we become disconnected with cows, as we have, in the cities, living in the cities means we are disconnected with cows. We no longer look after cows. We no longer see cows. We no longer think about cows. We no longer care about cows. If we no longer care about cows, what's Krishna going to care about us? Isn't it? Krishna is constantly meditating on his cows. Krishna worships every day his cows. Krishna cannot live without cows. How can we manage to live without cows? The Brahminical culture cannot be established without cows. Krishna consciousness cannot be practiced without cows. How are we managing to practice our Krishna consciousness without cows? We must ask ourselves these questions. Lights, Hare Krishna. So we have a few, we have a few minutes if anyone has some comments or some questions. Yes? Do we have a mic possibly? Yeah, one small second. Portable mic.
So I have a question about civilized according to the Vedic sense and civilized according to the material sense.
Yes.
I'm really very interested in all of the Vedic civilized things you said, but we live in a material civilization right now, so I'm struggling with the definition of what it means to be Vedically civilized and how incredible that is, and the status quo right now, which is industrialized, sadly industrializing. So how am I supposed to figure out how to fit in society when it's always telling me to be industrialized? And I know that the correct thing to do is protect cows.
Yes, good question. So for every good question, we have a good answer. Krishna has a good answer. The idea is that this is explained in the book. Prabhupada also makes reference to this as well. If we look at history, the last 400 years, since the days of the Industrial Revolution in Europe, and the whole world has gone on a tangent. It is, of course, it is more and more, as we can see every day, becoming more and more materialistic. So this whole industrialized, mechanized, Vedic culture is not against technology, but there's, two kinds of technology, what is known as hard technology and soft technology. Today we are promoting and in the midst of hard technology. Hard technology is very destructive, very dangerous, and very expensive and unnatural. Whereas soft technology, example, if we are to plow a field, soft technology, the Vedic way, teaches us to do the minimum harm to the earth and rather do our utmost, as I explained a little earlier, by using bulls or bullocks to plow the land, which brings benefit to the land. And hard technology teaches us to use a tractor, which is completely harmful to the land, you see. So we are, it's a very perplexing situation and a very difficult one for everyone, for those who are devotees, those who are also not aware possibly of what we call the Vedic culture. Everyone in so many ways is suffering because we have created an artificial system. We are severely exploiting Mother Nature, isn't it? We are creating all of these ecological imbalances. We are practically on the verge of totally destroying this planet. We're killing. There's a, in my research I came across a website, you can Google it. It's called the Killer Counter. It is counting per second, keeping track of what different animals are being killed every single day. Cows, horses, this and that, chickens and whatnot. I don't know, millions of, we are killing civilization actually. So Vedic culture is teaching us the opposite, and therefore the changes that are needed can only come about if a greater number of individuals change their consciousness, purify their consciousness. And that is what Krishna consciousness is all about, giving us knowledge as to what is the best way to live, to meet our basic, needs. We all have basic needs. So there's a big difference in terms of, I think it was Gandhi, there is enough around the world, there's enough of everything to meet our needs, but not to meet our greed, and that's part of the problem. That's the core of the problem, actually. We are not, in general, people who are devoid of this knowledge and understanding are simply exploiting more and more material nature. We are self-centered, egocentric. We are competing against others, both individually, in terms of nation to nation. And therefore, the whole of modern civilization is simply going in the wrong direction. And we have that duty, that responsibility to gradually change the course of history. This video is all about that. And the teachings from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are also teaching us in detail how we can gradually do this. And of course, As the saying goes, the change first needs to come from within. Change ourselves, and then we can change the world. So that's what we need to work on. Yeah? Yes. Someone can just, yeah, just back there. Coming. Coming. There, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a very wonderful presentation. I have 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with one.
Thank you. The first question is, like, whenever I see this video, I feel very guilty saying that in terms of, I also contribute in some way by bringing milk outside and things like that, you know, and killing the cows and making them getting slaughtered. But sometimes I'm thinking in practicality and reality, because of the cost, right? We have Gita Nagari, which is there. It's not affordable for everyone. And also, we get some ahimsa milk from 3 hours from here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The affordability is one, and also practicality-wise, like sometimes you have to, like, you know, go out or drink some milk or something like that.
Why don't you have your own Gita Nagari here?
We are somehow raised to be industrialists.
Srila Prabhupada, as you may know or should know, requested all of our city temples to have within a 50-mile or kilometer radius, you know, within a relatively short distance, a farm community. This is one of many standing orders by Srila Prabhupada, where we will have devotees producing food, pure food, wholesome food that we can offer every day to the deities and then to the devotees, where every day we don't have to travel all the way to Gita Nagari. We can have our own milk from our own cows, ahimsa milk. So now we are, you know, in most of our temples, because we have not acted on this request by Srila Prabhupada, we are offering ahimsa milk, ahimsa food. So if we simply hear and put into practice the good instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, all of these problems will be solved. If no one else has any other question, you can ask your second question if I have addressed the first one. But a hand is up here, so the mic has to come back in. It might go back there. Well, you also start with one. We'll go back and forth.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Thank you for your class and a topic that I have long waited for. Maharaj, the question I have is, how does one get started? Because we really have no experience. Most of Prabhupada's grand disciples have not even seen a cow, let alone farming with the cow dung. So I think, how do we get over this hurdle, or how do we get experience, or how do we step into something, and can we then get guidance that's required?
Yes. Okay. Well, it's a good question. It's on the mind of many devotees as well. Whatever we would like to learn, it is much easier to learn if we approach people who have that knowledge and who have experience. So there are a number of devotees within our society, and there are a number of people also who may not be devotees, who are not devotees actually, but who are doing this, who have taken up projects. We have, like our ministry in India, there are different projects in India, as you may know, where devotees have become knowledgeable. See, one thing we have to keep in mind, most people in the Western countries, including those who have come from the Eastern countries, from India in particular, we have managed to learn things that are not so natural to us. Whereas Vedic culture is giving us an opportunity that we are neglecting to learn things that are more natural to us. If we can learn the unnatural, we shouldn't have any major problems in learning what is natural. We tend to forget how in the Vedic culture, it's not only the Vaishyas who have cows and look after cows. The Brahmanas have cows, the Kshatriyas have cows. All the members of society are connected actually with the cows. Everyone grows their own food, unless there's a war on and then those fighting, they're fighting. They're not growing food. Otherwise, when they're not fighting, majority are having land, and you know, that is a whole natural, simple system as given by Krishna, which we unfortunately have forgotten. And of course, initially it's a big question mark. My God, I've never done this before. And I've been, some of us who are born in cities have absolutely no exposure, no experience. But I can tell you, I've met people, both devotees and non-devotees, who within a very short time have, by getting involved with the land. Now, one thing also is that it's not that everybody will be a farmer, because in a village, there are different occupations, you see. There are people who are teachers. Of course, generally that's a small percentage, like Brahmanically inclined. Majority of people fall in the category of Vaishya and Shudra. And we, of course, have big problems with the word Shudra, not understanding how when Narada Muni in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam describes the qualities of a Shudra, there are, I believe, 8 or 9 qualities that the Shudra should have. And, to become a Shudra is a very advanced stage of life. The whole concept of Varnasrama has been, unfortunately, degraded and is looked upon very negatively for good reasons as well, because it's been misused and abused over many, many centuries. It is a little bit like 200 years ago when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was trying to reintroduce Lord Chaitanya's teachings and the real understanding of Vaishnavism, because at that time, when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a young man, Vaishnavism, people would have all kinds of negative feelings and thoughts, because people, in the name of Vaishnavism, were doing all kinds of nonsense, isn't it? So he had to work very hard to reestablish the glories of Vaishnavism. In a similar way, we have to work very hard to reestablish the glories of Varna and Ashrama. How this is actually real civilization. So there's a lot of information available, either through books, for example, here, and Prabhupada's writings. I mean, our source, whatever is here, comes from here, actually. Prabhupada spoke quite extensively, and then, it's a question of speaking with and maybe spending some time with people who are actually doing these things. So much of what is called, all kinds of cottage industries. I don't have time to show all of this, but one of our devotees is part of our ministry. We've established, maybe about a year back, a department, national department, to revive cotton textile, because that was very well established, before the British came, and practically destroyed. And that whole, so many of these traditional technologies, there's an urgency to save them, Our motto actually is, we have 3 mottos. Save our cows, because that's the beginning. By saving our cows, we will save our villages. That's the second. And the third, by saving our cows, saving our villages, we will save our culture. We cannot expect to save our Vedic culture if we don't have cows in villages. Forget about it. So it's not easy, but it is possible, and people are doing it. If other people can do it, you can do it.
Right, Maharaj, as you said, there is enough knowledge, especially experience if one goes to India. But for cold climates, I don't see that much.
Huh?
In a cold climate, right? So
well, there are special challenges, but it is still, Prabhupada said, Varnashram, or this lifestyle, agrarian lifestyle, is not only for India or not only for Asian countries. It will vary to some extent. Yeah, there's definitely. I'm from Canada, and you know.
Right.
Yeah, special challenges are there, but yeah.
Can one look for? So as we know, there's a lot of land that is not suitable for farming anymore. So can one look into that land, because obviously that land will be very, cheaper and so on.
Yes.
So is that an option? Because you can eventually fertilize it to a level, right? I mean, it'll take time, but.
Yeah, China, I believe, is doing that. It's converting, changing deserts into forests and very, yeah. So one needs to do a little homework, naturally, find out, learn, take courses, and it is, consult with people who are in knowledge and have experience. Yeah, okay. Any other? The question here, someone can just.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
So you mentioned a little earlier about the use of so many chemicals, both directly in agriculture, like pesticide or fertilizer, and other chemicals being so detrimental to the earth. So my question is, to the extent that we can all try to eliminate the use of the synthetic chemicals, maybe for plant-based soaps and things like that, and to the extent that we can study the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and the other literatures, by reducing the chemicals and protecting the earth, so to speak, and by increasing our own knowledge, is that also helping the cows by, in other words, by precursor to?
Definitely. For example, cows in so many places, because we are not responsible in throwing all kinds of plastics around and whatnot, polluting the earth. So this is not helpful for the cow. The more the soil is devoid of these very destructive elements or chemicals, then this will make it easier for proper food to be cultivated with the help of cows. So it's all interconnected, right? In the Vedic culture, cows and land just cannot be separated. And we have been committing a very big blunder, and still doing it as well, with the whole concept of keeping cows in a goshala. Goshala means cowshed. Most of the time, cows should not be in a cowshed. They should be out grazing. That's their natural way of living, etc. And they bring so much, and they should be with their calves for many hours of the day also. So there are many things which are detailed actually in our Shastra. It's a whole science. It's a very deep science actually, because cows are meant to sustain the universe. And now we see that because we're not properly caring for cows, not utilizing cows and bulls, the universe is not being sustained very well. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's going in the destructive way. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other? Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj, for giving us the wonderful lecture. I have a question. I heard that the Indian cow belongs to the Indian breed.
Can you turn your mic this way?
Hello. Yeah, so cows belongs to the Indian breed is superior to other cows of the world. Is it correct, or is it myth?
What's the question exactly?
Cows belongs to Indian breed.
Cows belong to Indian breed.
Yes. Deshi cow.
That's I want to get it right.
is superior to the other cows of all over the world, or it is myth?
Or it's a myth. Okay.
Is it myth?
Let us dissipate myths. Yeah. No, it's a good question.
Yes.
So I'll try to address your question. That's your question, right?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I would say there's a fair amount of controversy in regards to how to define indigenous. You know, in India, people speak of Deshi cows as the indigenous cows of India. And now, if you go to Europe, people there speak about their indigenous cows. Right? And they look very different from the ones in India. They look very different from Deshi cows. Now, there's a very major subject matter, but very, very important. We as devotees accept all living entities as Krishna's, creation, and we give respect to all life that is sacred. At the same time, we can recognize certain differences. Certainly, those who are following Ayurvedic medicine, Ayurvedic doctors, they very much give importance to Deshi cow products, Panchagavya products, right? Milk, yogurt, ghee, cow urine, and cow dung. And there's so many different treatments, very effective as well. We don't go to the extent of saying that non-Deshi cows are useless. Non-Deshi cows, as some people say in India, are not cows. Now, there is actually a need for research in this area because many doctors, like in America, will say that milk is bad for you. Well, it may be bad for one person, may be good for another person, but some of these doctors are basing their statements on the fact that a certain kind of milk, then we get into the whole discussion of A1 category milk and A2 category milk. So I don't have all the answers for this because there's not been sufficient research on this. Our position as devotees is that definitely the Deshi cows in India that we, those with the hump especially, have special medicinal values that we don't seem to find either completely or definitely not as much as in those Deshi cows. So they do have a special value and importance, but at the same time, we also take milk from non-Deshi cows, and we protect them as well. Is that okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mike here, and maybe probably have to close this up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I've been to US for past 20 years, but I have touched cows only on 2 occasions. And that was only for about a few minutes. What should I do? I really feel need that I want to spend time with cows. I want to touch them, feed them, like I did when I was young in India. But I don't see much opportunity here. What should I do?
You convince the members of the community here to get another Gita Nagari. No, really. Srila Prabhupada, pure devotees don't speak for nothing. They don't give instructions just for the fun of it. Prabhupada was very serious 50 years ago in explaining that all of our city temples should have a farm community where we grow our own food, where we keep our own cows. And if that happens, and should happen, then every day or every so often you can go and learn to milk the cows maybe, or at least see them or whatever, yeah. So thank you all very much. You've been an attentive audience. Congratulations to all of you. And kindly meditate on some of the things that we spoke about. Very, very important. This is in connection with Srila Prabhupada's 50% that he spoke, and some of that is being explained. And also before, just on this last point, remember the following 2 words, Sri Surabhi, and kindly download the app. I have 2 small books I will give to anyone here who downloads the app before you leave. If you want to have a free small book, you show me on your cell phone the app downloaded. It takes about 30 seconds. Oops, I see somebody taking out the Okay. Sri Surabhi, whether you have Android or Apple, it's, both are functional right now. And you get to see, on the app we also have all of the indigenous cows of India. So the first Prabhu and the first Mataji who does that, they'll both get a book, small book. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Samasta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Too late for your second question. Oh, you did? Wow. Well, I think you're breaking a record here.
He's outside.
So let's first of all thank His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj for giving us a very enlivening class, seminar on this cow culture, awakening our eyes, thinking that, now we have gotten a temple and we are all comfortable. And Maharaj brought this a wonderful point that each and every temple should have a farm community. So, where we grow food and keep cows. And I think I was hearing from Vaikuntapati Prabhu from, I think, they have a cow sanctuary now in D-Land, or they're trying to build a cow sanctuary in D-Land, and ultimately, initially they were going to come tomorrow for a class, for a presentation, again encouraging each and every temple to have a cow. Adopt a, not adopt a cow, have a cow. So, hopefully we'll have that as our vision. Does all of you would like to have would like to see a farm community near you? Haribol. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Let's thank His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj with a loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Please come again and again. Hare Krishna. Maharaj has these wonderful books. Please have a look at it and please take some of that.